Welcome to ETAuto. I'm joined by Mr. Rattan Kapur, President, Auto Component Manufacturing Association. Looking at the changes that has taken place in the last few months, policy announcement and all, how the component industry, the back room is prepared for this shift.
Nabeel, it's always a pleasure talking to you. It's an evolution. We are evolving. It has taken us about 35 years now to come to a figure of 3.5 million vehicles, which we are manufacturing today. And if you've heard my past statements, we are looking at going to 5 million by 2020. And as you heard today on the Automotive Mission Plan 2026, we are looking at going to about 15 million vehicles. We are on the correct path. The figures are matching till now with whatever we have said, even though we've had a little slowdown. But at the end of the day, some companies have done exceedingly well, like Maruti and all, and therefore my figures are still on target. We are looking at hitting 5 million maybe earlier. I won't be surprised.
With this new emission norms, safety criteria coming in, what kind of investment do you expect to happen from auto component industry in the... I'm sorry you told me about not asking about figures, but still any ballpark number, any study that you have done?
We are looking at it in two parts. We are looking at the four-wheeler, we are looking at the two-wheeler. And we have been discussing with the government to discuss this and if we can break it up. So the government is pretty adamant. They're saying 2020, I want to go for Euro 6 finished. Nobody in the world has done it before. India will be, yes, straight away out of Euro 5, because Euro 5 would have brought us much closer to Euro 6. But the gap between Euro 4 and Euro 6 is huge. It's going to affect the price of the vehicle. My ballpark figure, anywhere between 50,000 and 1 lakh on a medium-sized car, on a 1.5 liter engine car. That's a huge amount. One thing is only emission. Then I'm looking at safety. When I say safety, that means today we are looking at frontal crash, then I'm looking at the side crash, passenger safety, inside, seat belts, air cushions, bags, everything put together. I don't think we're looking, it's only a guess, anything less than about 5 to 7,000 crores that will have to be invested in order to achieve this, in order to come.
Indian component industry traditionally has been, built to print. So this kind of leap, technological leap, do you think it will be not very difficult, especially for tier 2 and smaller ones? How are you guys going to bring these kind of people in the fold? Are they not going to be missed out? What is the scenario currently? Because I think it's a huge difference that's going to happen in the industry.
See, Nabeel, I'd like to correct you here. It's really not going to be so much the tier 2 and tier 3 that will have a problem. The Indian tier 1s themselves are at the greatest risk because of this, simply because this is a total different technology. Most of the Indian manufacturing companies do not have this technology, have not prepared for it. It takes years before I make a product, test it, and I'm ready to release it. It takes me at least 4 to 5 years. Therefore, the Indian companies will have to depend on technology from outside. The outside companies may or may not be happy to give the technology because this is something they'll want to make money on. Maybe by 2025, they will then give the technology to the Indian companies. So to answer your question, risk about tier 2s or tier 3s, later on. Tier 1s are at the biggest risk today. They have to go and get their technology as soon as possible, or get into collaboration, or go into a technical agreement, something the tier 1s will have to do, Indian tier 1s.
Don't you think that the government should have given some kind of support or indicative, in the last few years itself, that we will be moving, that would have made you ready to take on the challenge?
I totally agree with you. But on the other hand, when I look at the little children, I look at my own grandchildren going to school and wearing a mask, that pollution is killing. We have to take some drastic steps. And I really compliment the government on taking this step by saying, nothing, it is only this or nothing. So 2020, we have to do it. The Indian companies may become tier 2s to the foreign companies, but at the end of the day, 125 million people on the road will benefit with this decision. But we must understand, pollution outside is not only vehicle pollution. I mean, that was maybe just a small percentage, 10%, 15%.
Construction, a lot of other...
So many other things, especially burning of fossil fuels from the neighboring states, which has to be stopped. But yes, we had no option. we had to take this absolute
But looking
decision.
at the risk, just you mentioned to the auto component industry, we see dual edge, attack on the component industry. One way the government of India or Prime Minister is talking about ease of doing business. They're giving setups to the foreign company, come and produce, plug and play kind of setup also. This is also putting component makers into a tizzy. In such a scenario, how component manufacturer can make a arrangement to stay afloat and profitable and chase the global dream that we had?
Chan Sehgal, Motherson, is an excellent example. He did not chase anybody. He chased his own dream. He realized if technology is required, he has to get it at any cost, even at a loss initially, you have to get it. It's going to be the same story for all of us. If we require a particular technology, I must get it by hook or by crook. That means I'm putting a company which I made 30 years back at risk. But if I don't do it, my whole company has a chance of going down. So for the sake of the company, we may have to make some sacrifices.
We were following joint venture model mostly, but we see a lot of foreign collaborators, shying away from going into joint venture. They are trying to get into direct in Indian market. So what Indian manufacturer can do now? What is the way out?
We have to join hands. We have to join hands, maybe give them a majority in the company and make the company more professional. And that's the call of the day. Gone are the days when I can run a company sitting from my house. It's my own private company. Maybe my father had given it to me. Gone are those days. If we need technology, we need to sign up. We need to sign up. That's it. And if I have to give a majority, I have to give a majority. Of course, we will negotiate for equal playing field, but in case it's not possible, it's better than losing the whole company after 5 years to have a joint venture today. And maybe I make another company to support this joint venture company.
So coming back to the short-term targets for component industry, what kind of capacity addition do you look for Indian component industry in the next 2-3 years, and what kind of job creation we can expect from this?
As I mentioned to you, 3 million in the last 30 years, 5 million now. So I'm looking at 30-40% growth in the next 4 years. 17, we're already sitting in 17. 3 years, so 40% growth, 40% more investment, 40% more job creation.
Thank you so much for being so
We have to be positive. We have
so
to be positive.
candid and so,
Thanks, Nabeel.